Hello, and welcome back to another Chris McPherson Show, Cricket Daily on the 23rd of March. And there's plenty to unpack today, plenty to talk about. We're going to start with South Africa forcing a series decider in the T20 series against New Zealand in the men's series over there in NZ. Major changes to the PSL, games to be played behind closed doors, venues being reshuffled, and New Zealand's domestic cricket deciding on a preferred model for their T20 league moving forward. Australia's packed 2026-27 summer schedule for their men's and women's international sides is locked in, and Australia's women are eyeing off a sweep in the Caribbean for their T20 series as well. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to hit like on the video, hit subscribe on the channel, and get involved in those comments. Let us know what your thoughts are on the PSL and the impacts that obviously everything that's happening in the Middle East is having on that. What your takeaways are from the Australian schedule. It's jam-packed. Is it too jam-packed, or is there not enough cricket? Have we not left enough gaps for the domestic series? What are your thoughts? And obviously the new news about the New Zealand T20 series. But let's start with New Zealand and South Africa, the fourth T20. And as we look with an eye to the fifth match as well, South Africa win this one by 19 runs. The series now locked up at 2-2, which means Wednesday's final match will become a genuine series decider. South Africa defended 164 for 5 brilliantly. On paper, it did look slightly below par, but their bowling attack, especially the spinners, came to the fore and completely changed the game. New Zealand were bowled out for 145 inside 19 overs to lock in that 19-run win for the visitors. For South Africa, it started with their batting, however, a much better performance overall from the batting group that has been, I think it's fair to say, inconsistent so far in this series. Connor Esthuizen was the standout, 57, his first international 50. Continued a really promising start to his burgeoning international career thus far. Shared an 81-run stand with Tony de Zorzi, South Africa's best partnership of the series so far, and it shows that they're trending in the right direction, which is positive for South African cricket. It was important because this has been a second-string South African squad, and this has been an opportunity for people to take their opportunity and make their mark, and not a lot of players have, it's been fair to say. They've looked a lot like a second-string squad, performed like one, so good to see players like Connor Esthuizen and de Zorzi starting to step up and lead the way. And they are starting to find those genuine contributors. Can they roll this into Game 5 is going to be the big question. In terms of Esthuizen, he's very early in his career, but he's been moved around. He was an opener. He was a number 4. Now he's a number 3, but now he's taken the opportunity. He top scored on debut earlier in the series. Now backs it up with a proper 50, his first in international colours. And he looks like maybe a player that South Africa can rely on, certainly as a depth player in the interim. But in time and in due course, maybe a player who'll force his way into their starting 11 in white ball cricket. He's certainly someone that we'll be keeping an eye on. For New Zealand, from their point of view, it is worth noting they were heavily understrength. Mitchell Santner, Devon Conway, Lockie Ferguson all rested for both this game, the fourth T20, and the fifth one coming. And then Tom Latham was unavailable after he was hit on the thumb in Game 3. So 4 of their big names all out of action. Latham will now undergo scans to lock in his availability for the decider and where he goes from there. But it wasn't a full-strength New Zealand. That said, South Africa had to take advantage. They could only play the 11 they were playing against, and to their credit, they certainly did that. For South Africa, their bowling was certainly match-winning as well. Coetzee set the tone. He was hostile. He was aggressive, 3 for 31. But the real squeeze, it came from their spin bowlers. We had Prenelen Subrayan, who took 2 for 13 on debut, a wonderful start to his international career, and Keshav Maharaj, tight, forcing the issue, 2 for 22 from his overs. Between them, they helped crush New Zealand from 76 for 3 to 112 for 7, turning the screws, applying the pressure, and using that boa constrictor. We'd love to see spinners rolling out. Can't wait for seeing more of it. New Zealand, the positives, Tim Robinson top scoring with 32, but nobody really went on with it. No partnerships of any significance, and it really felt like they never built into the momentum of a proper chase. The bright spot was Ben Sears, was excellent with the new ball. They did keep South Africa below 165, which initially looked positive before their batting collapse. So Sears, certainly the bright light, 1 for 22 from his 4 overs. That's the one positive to take out. It does set up the 5th game now in this series. Momentum with South Africa and New Zealand do have home advantage, obviously. The big question, Tom Latham to return, doesn't look likely. And do New Zealand bring back any of those stars that they had declared wouldn't play in order to try and secure the series? South Africa know they can put the pressure on, use their spinners to really turn the screws. On New Zealand, know they've let control of this series slip and they've got to wrest the momentum back. Perfect setup for a decider. We can't wait for seeing how this one shapes up. We move on to talking about the PSL now. and a major tournament change breaking. The PSL will now be played behind closed doors, and instead of 6 venues, just 2, Lahore and Karachi. The opening ceremony in Lahore also cancelled. The reason, the ongoing West Asia crisis. We don't need to break that apart for you. Linked oil and fuel supply issues, which means travel's less available. It's also more risky, and wider movement restrictions are in force in Pakistan. The PCB chairman said the league can continue, but it would be inconsistent to restrict public movement and allow the players to travel freely and pack stadiums out. So public order, common sense, all makes sense. Ticket holders will be refunded. Franchises will be compensated for the lost revenue, and the possibility of crowds later in the tournament should the situation in West Asia change, remaining open, but only, as I say, if that broader crisis eases. PSL is still scheduled to run from March 26th, so only a few days away, to May the 3rd. We'll break down a little bit of PSL on Friday as we lead into the first games. Moving on, speaking T20 domestic leagues, though, the NZ20/New Zealand domestic T20 shake-up has somewhat been confirmed, we might say. New Zealand Cricket's made an in-principle decision to back NZ20. That makes it the preferred future domestic T20 model over the current Super Smash. It is not fully locked in yet, but it is a major step towards replacing a competition that's been running for 21 years and realistically is fading in terms of its competitive stance against other T20 leagues. It'll also close the door on any move into the BBL-WBBL structure that might have been proposed for a Trans-Tasman competition. The caveat, NZC wants stronger guarantees around the women's games before they make their final lock-in and decisions. They need to see visibility and prominence for the women's and proper integration into the new competition. They also want regional representation and clarity around how the ownership and control will be structured. The idea is to modernise and revitalise the domestic T20 face in New Zealand. Players like Sophie Devine and James Neesham have been vocal about it. They see it as opportunities to grow fan bases, improve player development, and create a stronger franchise product at home in New Zealand. But clearly, there's still quite some work to be done before it becomes final. This is essentially a statement of preference, not locking anything in, so we'll watch this space again. Moving on, Australia, their 26-27 summer schedule is locked and loaded. The men's side particularly face a very condensed, high-pressure home season. The most eye-catching feature, the core of a 4-test series against New Zealand squeezed into barely a month. The New Zealand Test series will kick off in Perth on December 9. It'll then head to Adelaide, Melbourne and Sydney, where it will wrap up on January 8. So just a day under a month. 4 tests, 30 days. It's going to be wall-to-wall cricket. This will be New Zealand's first test series of more than 3 matches since 1999, but the turnaround's brutal. 2 4-day breaks, 1 3-day break. It's going to put some serious pressure on your depth, your fast bowlers, their recovery, that squad depth overall. Be interesting to see. And this is part of a bigger 11-month stretch where Australia could play up to 21 tests from August onwards. For the New Zealand series, Australia will also host Bangladesh in 2 tests in Northern Australia, in Darwin and Mackay, England in white ball cricket, and then later on the 150th anniversary test versus England at the MCG in March. As we said, Bangladesh, Darwin and Mackay in August, England white ball series, 3 ODIs, 5 T20s around the country, Perth, Adelaide, Hobart, Melbourne, Gold Coast, Brisbane, Sydney, Canberra. That 4-test series against New Zealand, which will be the centrepiece in December and early January. And then the 150th anniversary test, March 11th to the 15th at the MCG. Pink ball. No pink ball in the New Zealand Test series. The pink ball will be that one in March at the MCG. For the women's schedule, the Aussie women, they will host Bangladesh in October, New Zealand in February to March, also an away ODI series in Sri Lanka in December, and South Africa have already confirmed a multi-format tour in March to April 2027, including a test. That's what we like to see, some women's test cricket. It's a huge schedule, great for fans, plenty of cricket to get to, but it's going to be physically demanding, especially challenging for the men's test players and any of those guys that are wanting to back up and also play Big Bash. It's going to be a big bite and a big chunk of their schedule and lots to do. New Zealand series in particular certainly feels like some blockbuster cricket. That New Zealand side continues to build, continues to emerge as a strong side in international cricket at the moment, but it's going to be a durability test, so we'll wait and watch and see. We touched on the Aussie women. Let's talk about their final T20 against the West Indies up on the line tomorrow morning. The series situation, Australia have already won the series, now chasing a 3-0 T20 sweep. It's also their final official T20 international before the T20 World Cup in June. So we're looking forward to seeing what they can do. We will be keeping an eye on Ash Gardner. She's to be assessed dealing with what they're calling hamstring awareness. I would have thought most people were aware of their hamstrings, but I'm guessing just a little bit of a twinge in there that she'll be watching. She's the only member of the squad yet to feature. The only member of the squad yet to feature on tour, Lucy Hamilton, could be in line for a possible T20 debut. It would see a full, as I said, flex of the squad, full usage. Hamilton's already debuted in one-day cricket, Test cricket against India earlier this month. She now potentially gets the T20 cap as well. And coach Shelley Nitschke is very high on her and sees her a genuine chance to press for the World Cup squad. Australia, this tour has been about rotation and experimentation, different quicks rotating through. Alana King has been outstanding, 5 wickets across the first 2 T20s. Will she be preferred as the spinner or Wareham? We'll have a look at that. Sophie Molyneux is still operating as essentially a specialist captain while managing her back injury. Australia expected to keep rotating and testing outcomes. The result does matter, but the bigger focus is final auditions, role clarity, and building towards the World Cup. Australia will want the sweep. Selectors will want more information. We're really looking forward to seeing what comes out of it, backing the Aussies to make it 3-0. We're on T20 tomorrow as well. We'll have New Zealand and South Africa, the 5th T20 in their 5-match series. New Zealand have dominated that series so far. We expect that to continue. Not going to get into the weeds on that one today, but we will give you a little bit of a recap of the series once it is won and done and cleaned up. But that is today's edition of Cricket Daily. Plenty happening. New Zealand, South Africa decider in the men's. A major domestic change or intent to change in New Zealand. The PSL disruption and reshuffle. And that huge Australian summer that we broke down so much. Let us know down below in the comments who wins the New Zealand-South Africa decider. Is it the South African momentum, New Zealand home field advantage? And what do you make of that packed Aussie schedule? Obviously a win for fans, but is it going to be too much for players, especially our ageing fast bowling unit? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe on the channel, and as I said, get in those comments. Let us know what your takeaways are from this episode, and make sure to follow us across all our social media platforms at The Chris Mack Show on all your favourite social media platforms. You can find us there, and we'll catch you next time for another Cricket Daily on The Chris McPherson Show, your home of the black and white of sport and great opinions here.